Yeah, no, absolutely. There's nothing wrong with going to a different type of school, maybe even more so located in some of those hubs. But I would say Lehigh being centrally located, to your point, New York City, Philadelphia. I'd even throw in Boston if you wanted it. Chicago not being out there, but definitely there, right? Like it's not impossible. It's a really quick flight. DC, all the way down to, Virginia, other areas as well, all very drivable, right? Like Chicago would be the one I would say, maybe don't drive, but fly. But everything else being drivable distance, it doesn't limit your opportunity. A lot of students do often ask, like, who do you feed into? And it's like, I won't feed into it. We like to know where you want to go, and we try and help you build that pathway. And so there is something about Lehigh's personal attention that I think can be lost at larger institution, not always meant for the right student. But I think if you're looking for a little bit more of a personalized program where you really can customize your experience, we're willing to kind of mold our program with that foundational space around you versus forcing you to potentially go into something else or, kind of that way. And so our alumni network are very proud to help our students. They often come back, and sometimes students create a new pathway and then other students can follow suit. This year alone in our MBA program, we have two students going into Amazon, very exciting. And they beat out some of the bigger name schools that Lehigh doesn't always get lumped into, right? And it was because they were able to maybe go deeper. I wasn't in that process per se, but they've now been able to shed light on what that process was like, the very grueling interview, project, internship process, and how they stood out and how they were able to really leverage that Lehigh degree behind them. And so they're willing to come back and kind of talk to other students who might want to go down that path. So I think we foster a relationship where students want to help other students, but we also don't force you to fit into a box. We can tell you these are where our students have gone. And if you like that, great. If there's something out there that we haven't done yet, let us know. And we want to figure it out too, just because we know it'll help more students down the road as well. So there's no shortage of opportunity. I'm not going to compare it to Philadelphia or New York City. They are very different in their own opinion, but they're just very different vibes to this city. And I'd say Bethlehem can be representative of both cities, right? There are people from New York, Philadelphia, throughout the region, but there's definitely corporate headquarters. It's not just a small rural town where like you're not going to find anything to do, or there's nowhere to really network or gain this experience. There's a lot of startup companies, a lot of really interesting, a lot of great history here. So while it might not be exactly where you want to maybe spend the rest of your life, which is totally fine, but it's a great space to be in to really find that next step for yourself, and no shortage. Lehigh also has a connection out on the West Coast. So we do have Lehigh Silicon Valley. And so we are actually building some of that opportunity into our MBA programs as well. And so there's going to be a winter trip because who doesn't want to be on the West Coast during winter in Pennsylvania? And so you'll be able to kind of see that culture as well and meet some of our connections out there. We do have students who end up in California. And so no shortage there. So I think always looking for opportunity to help our students find what that next step really is for them. They might have an idea coming into it, and I think it's super helpful to kind of have a goal in mind, but also being open to what the curriculum or what your experiences might lead you to and think of something completely different.